is.
That's gold.
Everyone. Yeah, someone literally just pulled up to my house as we're starting Tuesday Tea today. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Tea. I'm your host, Leanne Calderwood, and I am joined today, so excited to talk today with Michelle Raymond. She has her own company called Good Trading Co., and LinkedIn Pages is her shtick. It is her only shtick. And I got to meet Michelle on Clubhouse. I'm so excited that she decided to join us today here on Tea to talk about LinkedIn Pages. Michelle, welcome to Tea.
Cheers.
How are you? Yes.
And I love, this is what the part that they don't tell you about LinkedIn Lives is anything can happen at any time and you just got to roll with it, right? And so well done you for just like sitting there probably dying on the inside, but you carried on like a trooper. So it is my absolute pleasure to be here. So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. And to be honest, my audience knows my dog because I have a YouTube channel, Michelle. And in most of my YouTube videos, there's the dog sitting on the bed. I can't get rid of him. So Farley is a little famous, but he's also very protective. And so I think it was Amazon. I'm not kidding. It was Amazon. And so he had to go and check out what my husband bought on Amazon. So I'm
free plug. Amazon, if you're listening, sponsor the show next week.
Yeah. Well, Amazon, you've disrupted my show. So we're going to expect some compensation for
absolutely
for disrupting the show. So Michelle, I kind of want to tell people how you and I met, how our worlds collided, which it's not an unusual story anymore, but I met you on Clubhouse, which is such an incredible app for meeting like-minded people, especially like-minded people in different countries. Can you tell people a little bit about yourself, maybe even your LinkedIn background, and literally where you are calling in from on Tuesday Tea?
Which is actually Wednesday tea for me because it's 8 a.m. here in Sydney. So welcome from the other side of the world in the future. So I'm going to tell you it's a great day. I'm just getting started. I've had a couple of hours in a Clubhouse room with Brenda Meller this morning, talking about company pages, specifically in the thought leadership branding, which is the club where we met, which is super exciting. So, and Clubhouse is that. It's just another place where you can have conversations where you end up, taking them offline and, opportunities like this show up. So Good Trading Co. is my personal company that I set up around 18 months ago. And it was actually out of a position that I never thought I would be in. And so I was the general manager for a cleaning chemical manufacturing company. And as you can imagine, 18 months ago when COVID hit, we were making hand sanitizer. We were printing money like no one's business. You can imagine, right? You guys have been through this on a whole other level. So we're making all of this money, but then I'm realizing that the person I'm working for, let's just say, doesn't share my business ethics on safety and, making deals. And, those values didn't align for me. Something happened. I quit on the spot. That's it. I'm never going back again. On the spot, did not go back to the office. Like that is how bad this situation got. So fast forward 24 hours when you're sitting there all alone and quiet and you go, what have I just done? And then I go, oh my God, I am never working for someone like that ever again. I had a trail of a couple of bosses that it just didn't work out for me. I was the wrong fit, as much as I loved my customers. And so what happens is I quit my job. I'm at home. All of a sudden, I don't have anyone around me. It's super quiet. And I go, oh, what am I going to do now? Now, for me, I'd built up such a good reputation in the industry. I could have gone and got another job. But my partner, she said, Michelle, why don't you work as hard for your own business and set up something of your own instead of putting so much effort into these other places and it's just not turning out? I said, but what would I do? And she's like, I don't know, you'll come up with it. So I went through this process, and man, was it a process where I was trying to come up with what's the great idea that I could have, that I could, set up for Good Trading Co. Even coming up with a name was a challenge. So I set the name up and then I go. And then so what happens is here in Sydney at the time, we went into lockdown. Now that has all kinds of emotional, things that go along with it. I just quit my job. It was winter, it wasn't a great time. I noticed that the industry I'd come from, which is the chemical industry, and specifically, I used to, work with product development teams to make beauty products. That was my job, to sell ingredients to these guys. And I noticed that all of them had jumped onto LinkedIn last year because our trade shows got cancelled, our industry events got cancelled, our customer visits got cancelled all overnight. What do you do when that happens to your business? And it happened globally, right? You guys had, similar situations when you can't travel. Yeah. So if we rewind, I'd actually already been using LinkedIn for around 8 years for what I didn't know was social selling. I've since learnt that's what it was. Because when I turned up for my first job in that industry, and I don't have a chemistry background or science background at all, I just wanted to work for a big company. So I turn up and I say, okay, I'm ready to sell, 20 years of selling experience, let's go. And I said, what do we sell? And they said, Michelle, it's your job. Here's your laptop, here's your car, here's your customer list, go. And I said, okay, no worries, I can do this, first day jitters, all that kind of stuff. I said, but how do I find out what we sell? Is it on the website? No, Michelle. I was like, okay, maybe there's an old school catalog. Can you show me where that is? And, I can adapt. I can do this. And they go, we don't have one. And I said, okay, but how do people know what we do? And they said, Michelle, that's your job. And I said, okay, let's rewind a bit. How many ingredients do we have? 10,000. Okay, so 10,000 ingredients to around 80 clients spread around the country. It's my job to tell them all. Yes, Michelle. Okay, is there a marketing budget? No. And we're talking about a company that turned over $1 billion, right? We're not talking a small operation, $1 billion company, right? Because if you rewind into the industry, it was all around your little black book before the internet. Keeping everything a secret was, actually your IP for growth. And so that mentality had come forward. So I just got my job through LinkedIn, as we've all probably got a story along those lines. And so I realized just at that time that you could create content. And so I thought, maybe I'll just share about these ingredients and it will be my opportunity to share a one-to-many. So if I couldn't get around to see everyone, I could maybe post it there and they would see it and maybe they'd know what we did. And there was no method to my madness. But I developed that. And then I realized if you just sell, it falls over, it's boring, nobody wants that. And I didn't even know LinkedIn training, social selling. I just recognized that I wouldn't want to just listen to the same thing day after day. Mm-hmm. So then I got a bit smarter and went, okay, how else can I be of value? And so I would look for industry insights like future trends, what was going on in the industry, any problems that would impact supply, all of that, and be the first to share it. So I then realized I had my own little mini channel. No one else was doing it, and I had all the attention. So then I had this great idea that if you do that, it's great to have content, but if you don't have an audience, it's pointless. Mm-hmm. It's like creating an amazing newspaper that no one buys. And so I established that you need relationships and to reach out and do that. So fast forward, I then took it to the next level. You can reach people that aren't local, just like you and I are having this conversation here today. Exactly. I could reach the head of Unilever research and development in North America, Europe, anywhere in the world. If I sent a polite message and said, look, this is what I do. Do you mind if we connect? They would connect and I could have conversations that I can't even get into the local Unilever here in Sydney. I couldn't get access to them, but I found LinkedIn open doors so easily. And I'm sure, the people that follow your show have struggles trying to get to the right person. Mm-hmm. And so, if we fast forward, I build an amazing network globally in chemical/beauty industry, and I still play around in that industry today, but over 8 years, I developed my system. So when everybody during lockdown decided to jump onto COVID, thank God, I reached out to someone and I said, do you know, with the post that you're doing, if you just try this and this, it'll really help you get your reach. And she said to me, where did you learn that? And I said, look, I've been doing it for 8 years. And then thank God, the next question or the next statement, I wish I could learn from you, Michelle. And I was like, oh my God, I could write a training program for our industry. No one else is doing it. I've got the attention. So I went away and I wrote a training program. Okay, no problems. So then what happens is I go back to my clients and I say, here's my training program. You can do what I do. You'll take over the world, get all of these new opportunities.
No.
This is the look. Oh my God, Michelle, how are we going to get that done? Can't you just do it for us? It was like such a desperate look.
Yes.
Thank God it was a desperate look, because then I was like, and I'm going to let you on a secret and you can laugh at me if you like. What I said to them was, you would pay me to write posts for you? Yep. I didn't even think it was a job. Okay.
Yeah.
I felt really old.
Yeah.
And they were like desperately going, Michelle, we run these businesses, not particularly small, but not huge. We're already stretched to capacity.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they were so stretched that that's how the company page management came into play. And then I realized what had happened was, for the businesses that I'd worked for, I'd built up my own personal brand. It was amazing. I had huge reach. When I quit and went to their competitor, I took it with me. And when I quit there and went to my other job, I took it with me. So as a company, it's a huge risk. And that's how I got into, you know, company pages. So I told you it was a bit of a story. I know it's long-winded, but it gives you a bit of a background into, I love selling. I love helping businesses grow, and a company page is something that supports personal branding and helps other people to get reach, so that it's a tough market, right? It's hard no matter what industry. So yeah, I'd love to hear about some of the challenges in the hospitality industry that I think, you know, we might be able to help with here today.
Yes, well, and you've already hit on so many of those keywords, and I've been writing down those keywords. You talk about the gatekeeper, and hospitality professionals that are watching, you know, drop your questions or comments below for Michelle, because you know what I'm talking about. When we're reaching out to find the meeting planners and the event planners of the world, there's always a gatekeeper, and getting past the gatekeeper is so difficult. But LinkedIn opens those doors. All you have to do is know how to find them on LinkedIn and do exactly what you did, and send that personalized message, connect with the person you want to connect with, and boom, now you've got access and attention, and you can do all of the great things. That's the thing, Michelle, you gave us all of these things that we should be doing in 10 minutes. And now we got to break down, okay, I know I should be doing it, but how do I do it? And one of the things you talked about is getting away from the hard sell. And this is, now we're talking about the company pages in particular. And for the hotel industry, that is all the hotels have a company page. A majority of destinations around the world have a company page. So I'm not sure what it's called there, if it's Tourism Sydney or Destination Sydney, but whoever it is, they're on LinkedIn and they have a company page. So now they've got these platforms, right? Basically a free platform. Can you talk to us about the content mix that it took you a few years to kind of develop and hone, but what does a content mix look like to move a company page from being wah wah to elevating the conversation? Because I see that being the biggest problem with company pages is it's a feature on LinkedIn and we should all have a company page, but we can't get to the elevating the conversation part as easily as we can when it's on our own personal platform. So I know I gave you a lot. I threw a lot of tennis balls at you. I just want to see what you hit back at me.
Batter up.
That's the shtick with company pages, and why your niche is so interesting, because it's one of those features that, what do we do with this thing? It's the same, but it's different, and people struggle with it.
Well, the really interesting thing is you need to look at the background of company pages. They probably came in originally to support career opportunities for companies to attract talent. So it's all related to HR solutions, essentially, just like I shared that's the platform that I used to get the job in the first place. And so the history of LinkedIn has been very heavily focused. So once upon a time, company pages were driven by HR teams. And then the marketing team came in and they said, no, it's ours. Probably had similar thoughts to what I did some time back and went, free advertising. Yes, this is amazing. No deal. Like, let's not do that, people. I'm here to change that conversation. That doesn't work. When it's all about me, company pages go. And that's why they've got a bad reputation, because the content that was going out, highly branded, just looks like ads. And when it looks like ads in the feed, all you do is you scroll on by, because no one loves ads. That's why we're all on Netflix, right? We're streaming Amazon, we're streaming all of these services because the free-to-air TV has ads and no one's into them. Now, the interesting thing on LinkedIn is I don't think anyone's super offended by them on LinkedIn. We're just so used to them and we just scroll on by. And that's the danger for company pages, is the more branded and the more corporate brochure they look, the more people scroll on by. You know, they're not offended, as I said, but they don't stop and have a look and see what you've got to say. So to answer your question, how do we get around that? And, you know, the evolution is now that we're seeing some company pages are actually taken over a bit by sales teams and marketing teams. So that line's getting blurred, you know, and you hear terms like smarketing come out because there's not really that clean line definition before, because both teams have to help each other, you know, and the more that you work together, and a company page is a great place where you can bring everyone together to work together. So let's talk about content. What kind of content works so that we move away from that side of things? And LinkedIn actually put out a small business playbook, which featured this strategy. So I can't take it as my own, but I can share it with you today. And it's really simple to learn. It's called the 3-2-1 strategy. Pretty easy to remember. That's why I love it. So the 3-2-1 strategy is a total of 6 posts. And my recommendation that I would add on top of that is to do those 6 posts if you've got the resources over the space of 2 weeks. So when I work with clients, I'm only looking at doing around 3 posts on a company page. Okay. If the main point being making sure that you're actually consistent. So if you don't have the resources internally and you can't afford to, you know, send it out to a third party to manage for you, then whatever the number is that you can manage consistently over time, that's more important. Okay. So let's say ideal world, you can manage the 3 posts per week. We've got 6 posts in total. So the 3-2-1 strategy works like this. 3 posts in the 2-week period are going to be high level industry trends, sharing your company's insights into those trends, any upcoming, you know, on a high level things that are going to impact your industry, where you see the future of your industry. So really that macro big picture type of level. And that helps build your go-to authority. You want to be seen as, you know, what's going on in your space. So in hospitality, it might be you're across that events right now are moving into the hybrid space, or sustainability is a big picture. So you're going to share how your company drives into those kind of things. So let's just say big picture, nothing about you, but you're sharing your company's knowledge on what's going on. So you're ahead of those trends. Okay. So once we've done that, so big picture, the 2 posts in a fortnight are what we kind of generally call the feel-good posts. And this is where your employees come into it and behind the scenes. They're the 2 most effective types of content that you can ever put out on a company page. So you are literally going to grab your smartphone, grab the camera, and do some happy snaps. Right? They don't have to be polished. You don't have to bring someone in. Of course, you want to reflect well on the company, but they don't have to be, let's all, pictures around a boardroom where everyone, you've got one of every color and one of every type of person and age. And look at us, we've got our diversity, equity, and inclusion done. That doesn't work. Everyone just goes, stock photo, not interested, keep scrolling. Yeah. But powerful, super, super powerful, just those photos. So let me know who's in the back office. Who is it that I talk to when I pay my bills? Who is it that has just celebrated their 10-year anniversary? You know, like who got promoted? Does your business support local charities? You know, it might be veterans. It could be any kind of local community sports. Let us know what your company is doing more than your products and services. So we call that, just in general, feel-good stories, you know, that you can share. So once we've done big picture, we've then done feel good. After that, we're going to go into, you get to talk about your products and services. So that's 1 post per 2 weeks. Okay. Now, when you look at it traditionally, everyone's been doing every day, you know, multiple times, always about the company. And no one wants that. You know, think about what you would want yourself, you know, just my number one piece of advice, would you want to consume it? Before you press post on a company page, think, would you want to actually read that on the other side? And so I get that there's a balance between the goals of the marketing team and building up corporate brands, and I'm only talking about LinkedIn. Okay, so there's different ways that you tackle this for a website, brochures, other platforms. This doesn't translate across. I'm just talking specifically here today for company pages. So 3, 2, 1, big picture, feel good, company products and services. Simple, right? Good balance.
And it's an incredible balance. It's a balance I need to do a better job of. And in fact, I fail to do the one. And maybe that's the Canadian in me.
Most people do, and this is what happens. We're taught to add value, be top of mind. And the part that often people forget, be it on company pages or personal, is to say, here's my product that I offer that you can buy from me that will solve your pain point, and make it really clear so that people don't have to go. And I had the same thing. I still fall into that. And what happens is I would go to an event where it was face-to-face when we were allowed out, and I would turn up and everyone would say, Michelle, I see you on LinkedIn all the time. I was like, yes, high-fiving myself. And then they go, what do you do exactly? And I was like, ouch.
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
So how you can do that is use a content scheduler, even if you've just got like an Excel spreadsheet. If you set I've got one, so if you reach out to me and ask for it, I'm very happy to send it over and share. But if you schedule your content by the topics, what will happen is when you're creating, you'll be reminded, hey, I haven't done that. And what will happen is it moves away from I woke up today and I thought, what will I post? Okay, I like this. This is what I'm comfortable in. And so I'm just going to do more of that. And so it's a good way to, obviously make sure that you cover all bases, because I want to know what I can buy from you at the end of the day. It's no good saying you can solve my point if you don't actually connect the two dots.
It's so true. It's so true. So as a type A person, I'd love to see your scheduler, your Excel, because I also have an Excel. And other people have seen my Excel and they go buggy because there's so many colors for all of those topics you mentioned. I also do the 5 content pillars on mine and the 5 content types, like you should inspire and educate. And anyways, it's this very colorful mosaic, which would probably, create a lot of anxiety in people who just like a blank sheet of paper. But I love that idea with having a content scheduler, because you're right. We just often wake up in the morning and we're like, we got to put something up. Let's just put something up. No rhyme or reason to it whatsoever. And then we wonder why it falls flat. And I've been there. I'm still there. Like we all have those weeks. You mentioned something really interesting about the scrolling past, like the what we perceive as being a company ad in our home feed. And you didn't use this particular word, but I'm wondering if dwell time is one of those things that helps with engagement. So if we're scrolling and we actually then stop on a company page's post and we start to kind of read, does the LinkedIn algorithm pick up on that dwell time? I know it does for the personal profiles. Does it work the same with pages?
Absolutely. So there isn't a separate algorithm for both. So what applies to your personal page, grabbing a hook line, getting attention, whether it's your first couple of sentences before we press see more, whether it's a carousel post, which obviously helps a lot with, dwell time, any of those kind of things that apply on your on your personal page also apply to your company page. So don't run them separately. Don't run them differently. The more personal your company page is and in a similar style to your profile, the better results that you'll get. Now, I have a lot of people, especially if you've come from a marketing background, there's a lot of resistance in that space because, they're driven by building a brand, which is a corporate image, which has different sets of goals that they're driven by. And I completely understand it. And the argument that I have is, I get it. I know what you're trying to do, but it just doesn't work. And I know that because I've tried it across the pages I manage, across all different industries. And the same thing applies. The second we touch stock images or anything that just looks like that and is just run of the mill, just dies, and I'm out to get a message across to as many people as possible to drive their business goals. So I'm driven by a different set of KPIs, my own internal ones for them. And I appreciate that that's not, potentially going to align with what they do. So it's about finding the balance. And sometimes that could be just by using your company colors around as the border, or having a small logo in a corner, so that it's still front and center, but it's not the main piece of the attraction. And so there's little ways that we compromise. But again, making sure that your company is top of mind, so that when people have the need to arise, like a new event, they don't need an event every day. They need an event maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, maybe it's not till next year, and they're just watching and observing and seeing what's going on out there. We know 774 million people are on LinkedIn right now. 60 million companies are on LinkedIn. We know that your audience is there. So it's up to you to put content that attracts them, so that when they're ready to buy, you're right there, top of mind. And it works the same. Company page, personal branding, same. They work together. So it's a 1 + 1 = 3 kind of scenario. It's the synergies between both that get you better results. I don't sit here and say, forget your personal branding, it's all about company pages. No, that's not the conversation I'm having. I'm saying, if you have a personal brand that's like really working, and you have a company page that supports that, and it goes backwards and forwards, both help each other, you get an amazing result, better than either one of them individually could get. So yeah.
And I appreciate you saying that, because that's something I tell my audience all the time. So audience members, I didn't pay Michelle to say that, because that's kind of my shtick. My shtick is personal branding in the hospitality space, and LinkedIn in the hospitality space. Because that's the hill that I want to die on, is hospitality hangs out on LinkedIn. And it's still convincing people that this is actually true, and that people should be creating a personal brand and putting it front and center on LinkedIn. And now in particular, weaving that story into the company page. There was something else that you said, where was it here, about the more personal, the better the results. The more personal the post, the better the results. So for an employee, and let's take someone from my industry. Let's say we have a hotel sales manager. So these are people who have a 10,000 square foot ballroom that they're trying to sell to a meeting planner for their convention. How can they create some personal content for their company page to kind of reach those meeting planners? You gave one great idea, which again, I hope someone does this and tags me in it, because I'm waiting for it, is those behind the scenes photos and taking 100%. Those behind the scenes. Are there any other kind of tangible tips? And I know that you're not particularly in the hotel industry, but even as someone who's sitting on the other side of a feed, a LinkedIn feed, what would stop the scroll from you if you saw the Marriott in Sydney kind of pop up on your page?
Look, the things are, if I'm in that frame of mind and I'm looking for a place, you've got to stop and think, get on the other side of the desk and think, what is the person that salesperson deals with? What are the problems that they're having? So is the problem that right now they're concerned, if I make a booking, what happens to my deposit if we go back into lockdown, for instance, or something happens and that event gets canceled, because the world that we live in right now is pretty uncertain. So I'm scrolling going, I don't want to put down a $10,000 deposit on a room that I'm going to lose if, COVID or something other, jumps in the way and I have to cancel it. Because right now, I mean, I don't know if it's changed in the US, but in Sydney, where they're on again, off, and that's events is one of the spaces that's really under, and hospitality in general is hugely impacted. So I'm looking going, well, what are you going to do if I have to cancel this or move it or change it? So that's one of the concerns that's going on. I then want to have a look and go, what's the service that I'm going to get? So photos, a simple photo that I think is show your team setting up a room for somebody else, the attention to detail. Are the chairs lined up? There's nothing more like all the OCD people out there, shout out. They will love seeing those chairs aligned 100%, and the effort that you go to make sure that that room is so well presented, and show us the face of the person that made sure that it was spot on, and create your hotel or your event space as the one that pays attention to details. So you're the guys. And again, it's about creating a perception over time. So it's not you're going to do it every day, but over a 12-month period, if someone sees that 10 times, different stories around, have a look at how the pen's placed on the notepad, have a look at how we make sure that the morning tea comes out on time. Here's how we make sure these things happen for your event. Like, this is our checklist. All those little things that you take for granted that you just assume everybody else knows, or they'd find boring, they're the things that matter. So if you go above and beyond, I want you to share how you go above and beyond, and that's part of the story that you're creating is, we're the best and only choice that you can make. We are the ones that know what's going on in the industry. We're ready. Hybrid event, no problem. Here's our technology. We've already looked into that. And so there's so many different ways. What happens, we've got hand sanitizer out there or masks or, whatever the thing is that's your concern for the people on the other side. Maybe it's the fact that you offer a full one-stop shop. So are you the kind of event place that can get my printing done? Do you organize some marketing, for me? Are you able to promote the events on your socials? Like, whatever is appropriate. And I'm just kind of throwing some ideas out here. And so there's all kinds of everyday things. Jump on YouTube, have a look at unboxing, and have a look at how many videos are on YouTube under the title of unboxing. And that is literally just people opening up packages. The more effort that the everyday, and it is, we're talking billions. I'm not talking like one or two. We're talking billions of people watch these videos, and it's about the effort that you put in to that package. So if you've got, for instance, if you've got a warehouse person or someone that puts together these packages, and they make sure that it's wrapped nicely, that it comes with a with compliment slip, handwritten, all those little things that you do to make a difference so that your hotel is the number one choice. It's just about capturing that and sharing it, and remembering not everyone has your experience, and they need to come in behind the scenes and have a look. We're Sticky Beaks. We want to know, like, what do you guys do? And that's how you create a perception of your hotel being something above somebody else's.
Okay, so you're not in the hospitality industry, but you sure as well could be. Like, you have just hit all of the things that, like I said, I want someone to film these things and tag me in them, because these are things that I want to see. These are things that my clients want to see. So hotels, I hope you're watching this, because Michelle,
and testimonials. Don't forget the testimonials, because we want to build up. You might have them on another website, like a hotel review site. You may have them on Google reviews or other places in your local area. Don't forget to bring that social proof and bring it onto your company page as well. Again, we know your audience is on LinkedIn. That's undisputed. There is no question that who you want is on LinkedIn. So what we're doing is, don't make them go looking for stuff. If we're on LinkedIn, don't send them here for a review. Don't send them here for this. Don't send them over there. Have it all in one place, and like I said, celebrate your staff. If it's an event planner that you have got one of the best in your city, and you don't share about how amazing that person is and really celebrate and support them, you're actually doing them a disservice, because by building them up on the company page, you can actually make life so much easier for when they may have a face-to-face or a phone call with that person. So, build up your team. It's not just their job to build up the company. You can really make their life easier. And we're talking about closing sales. Like, I don't do this just for fun. As I said, been selling for 20 years. Ultimately, I am looking at what are the objections that my audience has before they want to book. Do they want the cheapest? Do they want the attention to detail? Do they want booking flexibility? Whatever the thing is that your event, your hotel space or your event space is known for, then share that, and really create a story around it. And that falls in with what you were saying about having pillars and making sure that we are the premium space and everything we say is going to be driving a story along that line. So, or you're the cheapest, and that's fine as well. Or you're the most technically advanced. You choose. It doesn't matter which one it is. Just make sure that everything you put tells a story towards that.
And these storytelling pieces, we will jump off of this topic, but these storytelling pieces and all these ideas that you gave us, they fall into the 3 and the 2 quite well, don't they?
Absolutely.
Because they kind of sell themselves. There is no offer at the end of that post. It is basically, here are our 12 Sani stations within the hotel.
Or here's how we use recycled paper, or here's our recycling station. We have a sustainable event policy. We'll plant 10 trees if you book with us, or whatever it happens to be that you run on, or your point of difference. That's the thing that you're going to create the story. And it's not doing it separate. You're right. It's not additional content. It's just the content you put out tells a story that takes people down that journey. So at the end, there is no other choice. It is just so obvious that your event space is the go-to. Like, you're top of mind. You're the obvious choice because our values align and what you're offering aligns with what I'm looking for. And so it's a no-brainer. So by the time they're on the phone to someone, show me the money.
Yes. Okay. But now I'm going to throw the hard questions at you. Or at least it's hard for me to wrap my head around the A word, the algorithm. So you start to create this engaging content, and now you're in month number 1, number 2, you're doing all the right things. How does the algorithm showcase the company page's posts to the audience? Like, how does that work? Do you see what I'm?
Yep. A question I get asked.
You just take that one and run with it, Michelle, because the algorithm dumps me, right?
Yeah. So, and I'll tag you in a post that I did recently on the algorithm to try and share with, basically how companies can leverage off their employees to really have an advantage with the algorithm. Now, in general, in the news feed, company pages are at a disadvantage. If you scroll through, I think someone said around 5% of the posts that you'll see in your feed are actually, mostly company pages. So you have to create good content. Now, does that then say, well, what's the point, Michelle, if it's there? No, because when people are doing their research, so I reach out to Leanne and then I go, yep, she's amazing, really like her. I'm thinking about using them. What's the company she works for? I'm going to go and do my research over here, because we know 70% of the buying decisions done before they even reach out. So don't think just because of the absence of likes and comments, don't think that what you're doing doesn't pay off. Now, the reason that I shared about the algorithm on a post recently is because what had happened was I had some company pages I managed. We would create content, and all of the staff were supporting those posts by pressing the share button. And, just a hint to anyone, just don't ever use the share button on LinkedIn for your own good. Just don't. It's false advertising. But what we were able to do is actually train the 10 staff in this particular case that when we post, that we would then get them all to engage on the post quite quickly within the first 2 hours. Now, as a solopreneur, you don't have that opportunity to be able to do it. So it becomes a bit tricky. But if you've got a team, even if it's a small team of 10, LinkedIn doesn't say, oh, that's 10 employees, not 10 randoms on the company page. It just says 10 people liked it, or 3 people commented. It doesn't actually penalize you if it's your employees. Now, I use the analogy of a wedding dance floor to kind of explain why this is important. And you can laugh at me in a moment. But basically, if you think about it, when we go onto anyone's wedding reception and they put the beautiful dance floor in the middle of the room where everyone can see and watch, and it stays empty regardless of how amazing the music is, right? Everybody's like bopping in their chair, like, oh, I like this music. Anyone on the dance floor? No, not yet. I'm just going to sit here. Who's going to go first? And then eventually there's always that one person, maybe they've had, a bit more to drink than other people. They get up. right? And
So
once that
good.
person gets up, everyone's like, oh, I'm not first. I'm going to go and join them. And then all of a sudden, everyone's on the dance floor. And think about that with a post, especially on a company page. If your employees go first and they show the way, it makes it a space where other people don't stand out and they feel more comfortable. And so if your employees are there, it also leverages off their personal networks. And that's a strategy that we're always trying to do, because most often a company page will have a fraction of the followers of what, if you add up all of the employees, they've probably got 10 times more than on there, or often even more than that. So, how do you leverage? Liking, commenting will show up in the feed that these people, if you scroll through, you'll see Michelle liked this, Michelle commented this, and you can see it through your own newsfeed. And then that's how LinkedIn wants you to kind of go, oh, why did Michelle do that? And so, they're just different ways that you can, more people that row the boat, the further and faster you go. That simple.
Yes, I love it. No, and you're right. That is how I suppose the solopreneurs can see a little bit of growth, is they just need a few people to like or comment, and then it starts to show up in their respective connections feeds and such. I want to revisit that comment you said about not hitting the share button, because I did hear once that, and we're going to the solopreneur example, but I guess this could be an example for even a small hotel team, that if you share a post from your company page onto your personal profile, that's one way of getting some engagement. But you and I both know that shared posts don't end up in the home feed. So are people getting bad advice? What do you think is happening here?
Oh, look, there's all kinds of advice on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn specifically don't put a lot out there that actually says, hey, do this. This is best practice. So in the absence of that, there's a lot of this works for me. Ultimately, what you've got to do, it's your responsibility, whether you're a company page admin or a personal person posting, it's your responsibility to review what you put out there, see what works and doesn't work, and change it accordingly. And so it's never a set and forget. It is always for my followers. So, part of the things that happens when I go to training with, company page admins is that they say to me, okay, tell me what to do. And I say, I can't. And there's this look like, what are we paying you for, Michelle? I can prescribe what is best practice as we know it today, but I don't know what works best for their followers in their industry with where they're at as a company. I don't know what else is happening outside of LinkedIn that influences what's going on and inside. So it's never quite that simple. So I can talk about strategies around, if we're talking times of day or how often, here are the things that you can check to see if it's working or not working. But I'm not going to tell you post Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday between 8 and 10 a.m. Because what will happen is, and say, take myself as an example, if I followed the Google advice, good old Google advice, if I type in best time to post on LinkedIn, it will tell me Tuesday to Thursday, 8 till 10, or roughly, right? Generally around those times. If I post at 10 a.m. here, I get crickets. I get zero, because I've got parents that are homeschooling. I've got my US people who are switched off for the night. My, colleagues and friends that are in Europe based, they're asleep. So 10 o'clock is like straight down the toilet, if I follow that advice. Now, if I follow my own, review and also always ongoing, then I know, if I wait till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Europe wakes up. If I wait a few hours later, then America wakes up. And so I've got to be conscious of that. Now, not everybody has a global audience, but you just need, for your local audience, are they professionals? Are they up bright and early? Or are they night owls? You have better success at 9:30 at night after everyone's day's finished and they're just scrolling. And hospitality can often work different hours to what, the rest of us work. So being conscious of, maybe they have late nights and not early mornings. So waiting till middle of the day might be a better option. So, it's not a one size fits all.
I would agree with you there. And again, thank you for keeping our industry in mind, because we are such a diverse industry.
Absolutely.
We are all over the map. In fact, if a hotel GM was caught being on LinkedIn, then he's not working hard enough. So, that poor guy is not going to catch a break to whatever.
And that's the trick. You've got to have a company that supports it, because and not everyone's on that same page. Not everyone sees LinkedIn as an opportunity, and hopefully hopefully the more conversations we have like this, we can change that view. But there is a lot of, trepidation from, employees during those business hours. It's not seen as a good thing that you're promoting the company and building your brand. It's actually that what are you doing? It's not real work.
Yes.
So I disagree strongly. It is real work, but I just want to put it out there that it's not like that in every workplace.
No, and you're right. But you raised an interesting stat earlier. We're now, I say we, like we own LinkedIn. That's right. Michelle and I own it. We're at 774 million users. We're at like the monthly active users is climbing. Every time I update a presentation, I'm adding another million monthly active users, it seems. I think at last count, it was 250 million active users. Here's a stat for you. And I love this one, and I don't know why it excites me so much, but in 2020, which was last year, COVID, content creation on LinkedIn rose 60%.
I know, right?
The competition for eyes on our stuff has now increased, but people are consuming the content. So it's this incredible blessing that people are creating more content because it will bring more people to the platform. But now, how do we make our content more riveting so that we can stop the scroll? Because there's so much that people now have to churn through the scroll. So I love that stat. But here's what we're seeing in hospitality, which is always fun, is we're seeing the people that we've worked with for decades in-person relationships, trade shows. Our industry has a ton of trade shows. Our industry, we have more meetings about meetings than any other industry in the world, I tell you. But we have these meetings about meetings. And someone that we've been meeting in person with for 10 years will be on LinkedIn for the very first time. So we're seeing that a lot. We're seeing a lot of people just literally starting their LinkedIn profiles, which is, again, fascinating to watch and so exciting for our industry. Certainly not alone. I think there's other industries, obviously, that are jumping on the LinkedIn bandwagon, but
look, the chemical industry that I came from was exactly like the hospitality one. Why would we need that? It was definitely always the view. Don't tell anyone what we're doing. Keep all of our secrets to ourselves. Protect the business. It's completely the opposite to what we're talking about with social selling. And so it's been really amazing. And you're right. The numbers last year were incredible, and it was just like a gold rush is how it felt. It was like, wow, come over here. And we know that everybody moved their advertising spending from Facebook and Instagram. You can see $10 billion worth of US, 10 billion US revenue, is what LinkedIn, biggest one they've ever had. They're high-fiving. Good news is that means I think we're going to see more and more features rolled out. And especially we're seeing them in company pages because guess what? You need a company page to run an ad. You can't run it from a personal page. And so this is why I've gone so hard on them like 6 months ago is I stopped and I was like, where are they going to make their money? Okay, so HR Solutions been around for 20 odd years, done. Sales, Navigator, done. Everyone, it's kind of been around for quite a while. It'll still keep growing. Where am I going to make my money from? I don't want to charge the users. That'll go down, like a lead balloon. What am I going to do? Ads. That's where I'm going to make my money. And they did it last year. And so now they're cashed up. And where do you know? Here's all the new features coming over to company pages.
So now I'm revisiting something you said at the top of the hour when you told your clients what it is that you do. And all they did was had this glazed deer in the headlights look. And they're like, can you do it for us? That's how I feel about LinkedIn ads. I would love to get on that LinkedIn ad bandwagon. But Michelle, Can you just do it for me? Because
See, I haven't played around with LinkedIn ads. And the reason was I used to have an opinion that why would you need to pay for ads on LinkedIn? And I've been in these Clubhouse chat rooms with Brenda and also Joe Caruso, who has the Franchise Info company page. And he's had it for a long time. And I've been learning from him. And, I actually did the LinkedIn has some 3 training courses that you can do, which show you the insides of how how ads run. I'll send you those links because it was amazing because I wanted to understand it. And, especially if you've got a product that's like a good size dollar value, which I would imagine some events are probably fall into that category, some of the bigger ones, it makes sense to do paid advertising. Now, what doesn't make sense is to do it if you don't understand what content works with your audience, who your ideal client is, who you're targeting. So you do that work for free. And again, this is, something I learned from Joe. So shout out to Joe. But you do the work for free, work out what resonates with your audience, and then pay to do it at scale to, and target those people. So you don't just come on there onto a company page with 50 followers and go, don't know who it's going to be, but if I pay money, that I'll have success. It doesn't work like that. Save your money. If you would like to just feel like you're doing something, send me some money. I'll send you a nice photo. I'll sign a card, whatever. It will be equally as effective. So, just be cautious before you go throwing money, because it's not the cheapest platform to do advertising. It's, relatively expensive. But as the cost of doing business, if you've got a decent size, offering the product at the end, it makes sense, but just it's about making sure that you understand in detail. There's 200 filters on LinkedIn ad solutions of who you can target.
Oh,
200.
wow.
So that's a level. And you also, there's other opportunities that you can add an insight tag onto your website. And then that records any LinkedIn people that go to your website and have a look in the background. It will actually use the cookies to track those guys, and you can then use it as part of the marketing solutions to retarget them. So there's some cool things to do in there. I'm not anti them. That's my next space that I want to learn about on LinkedIn, because I think they're like company pages. They have a targeting problem. I used to say company pages had a content problem. They just read like ads. Yeah. If they're of value, do you care if it comes from me personally or from my company page? If it makes your life easier and solves a pain point that you've got, you don't care where it comes from. Sure. You just go, thank you for solving that.
Yeah, I would agree. And you're right. Ads is a whole new world. And to what you were talking about, the entire T here is we're getting away from the hard sell. We're trying to do the social sell. So let's ensure that our ads reflect still that energy and that corporate culture of giving, and not doing that hard sell. Because again,
or you might have like a big Yeah, there could be like an idea that you're hosting a big event at your hotel, and it makes sense that you want to reach and promote to more people that you currently don't have on your company page, that you want to, have a bigger, wider network for a specific event. That makes sense. LinkedIn has some really great event ads that support those kind of things. But again, not just a spray and pray and really hope that if I just throw money at it, something will stick. That's not going to work. But if you have a target in mind, absolutely, it can be a really strong part of your strategy if your ideal client is another professional or another business.
One of my good industry friends, Adam, says, love that minimum investment approach to LinkedIn ads. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, and Adam just started a new position over the past year with a great energizing company in the hospitality space. So glad that that helps you, Adam. I also just want to highlight this comment here, because this is from our mutual friend, Roy, who is also enjoying a morning tea. He's also in Australia. So
he's over here with me.
Yes, I can't wait to meet both of you. I don't know how we're going to make that happen.
Can I tell you a funny story about Roy and I? So I met Roy in the clubhouse room that I do with Brenda, I think it was. So I meet Roy in that room and we connect offline. And then so we jump onto LinkedIn Connect, and Roy and I are talking. And then I said, whereabouts are you, Roy? Because I hadn't quite looked into it. Turns out we are literally one suburb away from where we live. So his office is less than 5 minutes from where I live. And it took Clubhouse and people that set it up in the US for us to meet. Like, it is incredible.
Incredible. And that's the power of Clubhouse. You hear those stories all the time. And I love it. It just, well, it's how I got to meet you. And honestly, one of the highlights of my year has been meeting you, learning from you in Clubhouse, learning from you on LinkedIn. And now I can say that we've all had the opportunity to learn from you here on Tuesday Tea. Michelle, you have given us so much stuff. Watch for a massive blog post, y'all, about everything that Michelle gave me. And trust me, I'll run it by you before we go public with that, Michelle, and it'll
Oh,
have your
good.
name all over it. But if people don't want to wait for the blog post, how can they find you, connect with you, and engage with you?
Look, I would love it. So first of all, you can find me as Michelle J. Raymond on LinkedIn. And there's a reason I have the J initial in there to make it easier for you to find me. There's lots of cool Michelle Raymonds. I have a really super popular name. I've actually met quite a few of them and they are cool, but I prefer you come and find me. So I'm the one and only Michelle J. Raymond. I also have a company page, surprise, surprise, called Good Trading Company. And that's where I specifically, share tips, tricks, and strategies for company pages. So whether you're a page admin, a business owner looking to get the most out of LinkedIn and company pages specifically, then come across to that page and I can, I'm always happy to help out. So I do things like audits and strategies. So if you have no idea where to start, rather than spend 8 years trying to work it all out like I did, why not just come and spend 2 hours with me and I can give you a crash course and set you in the right direction. And that can often be, you will get there eventually. Undoubtedly, I don't believe I'm any smarter than anybody else. I've just had more time on the platform to make the mistakes and learn from them. So I also obviously do company page management. So if you are that person that goes, oh my God, there's no chance I can fit that in, but I know I should, right? So I'm not in the business of convincing people to use LinkedIn or company pages. I am in the business of those people that go, I know I should, and they're the ones that I can help. So if you're one of those persons, please reach out. That'd be awesome.
And if you do nothing else, peeps, you guys have to check out Michelle's page because she does a couple things that I've harped on. She does them really well, and that's your banner. Or the background photo, whatever people want to call it, the billboard. A lot of people call it billboard. Her billboard is phenomenal. Like, you will chuckle when you see it. And she does a really interesting cover story. So this is a very unique cover story. So if you're looking for cover story ideas, Michelle's got an incredible little cover story on her LinkedIn profile.
Oh my God. I never thought that cover story would get me the attention that it has. Do not underestimate those cover stories. Like, I never in a million years thought my silly idea that I was like, I can't make a video. I'm going to do this. So go and check it out you can find it if you go to my Michelle J. Raymond profile and click on my photo. That's how it will play. Go and do that with the sound on. It doesn't work so well if you don't have the sound on. So let me know in the...
And what it does, Michelle, is it goes back to what you have said throughout the tea, is that it's not a one and done, and it's not a one size fits all. We should all be testing and retesting different things on LinkedIn. And so you've done a great job of that. And I'm a big believer in that. So I'm hopeful that people will check it out to get some inspiration for their own stories as well. This was so much fun, but I always have fun listening to you. It's never a dull moment in Michelle's world. She makes company pages fun.
They're cool. Everybody needs one. And now people are like, Michelle says they're awesome. She's pretty excited about them. Maybe there's something in this. And even to the point where LinkedIn's now approached me to be on like this small business advisory council with the pages team. So I get all of the new features first, and I get to say what works, what doesn't work, how they can be improved. And there's only like 6 or maybe 7 or 8 of us around the world. So out of 774 million people, they said, we want you. And so I'm super excited about that. So that's how much I love company pages, that LinkedIn actually went, why does she love it? So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm pretty chuffed about that.
Why does she love our company pages so much?
I think they should be paying me, and for the record, they don't. I think they should be paying me because in just 6 months, the conversation has changed so much around company pages. And I even had someone, my very first podcast, that I went on with someone else back at the start of the year, commented on a post of mine yesterday. So I went on there and it was all a challenge around why company pages were a waste of time. Fast forward now, and he actually said yesterday on a post of mine, everybody needs one. And I was like, what is going on? So build it. What I'm saying is it will take you around 6 months before you get an interaction. Do not give up too early. Like, keep on going. So you'll thank me for it.
This has been a fascinating dialogue. Thank you so much for joining me for afternoon tea / morning tea in your world. I would love to have you back. So let's talk about that.
You know where to find me.
Oh, I do. Well, I'm looking at you right here. So, Michelle, thank you so much. Friends, if you're watching this on replay, continue to drop your questions into the comments. And here's why. I'm going to be checking the comments and I'm going to be firing these questions over to Michelle. So continue to drop your comments and questions into the chat, even if you're just doing this on replay. We're staying on top of it. We want to make sure that you have the resources you need to take the next step on your company page. Michelle J. Raymond, thank you so much for joining us for tea today. And thank you all for joining us. Fanny, Sanel, Roy, Adam, thank you so much. Jillian, I can't forget
Jillian. Don't forget Jillian.
She's just so
I can't wait. She's gonna, when there's an event that someone in your industry is hosting, and I'm allowed off this big island they call Australia, and it's in Las Vegas, I want an invite. Whoever you are out there that's listening, I want an invite to an event held somewhere in Vegas.
It's called Next America, right? Happening in November. So, but you guys have always been great supporters, Adam, especially you, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us today. Folks, we're back in 2 weeks' time for another episode of Tuesday Tea. Until then, have an incredible end to your summer. Thanks again to Michelle J. Raymond with Good Trading Co. and her session on LinkedIn company pages. Have a great evening or day, Roy and Michelle. We'll see everyone soon. Bye for now.
Cheers.